Hello and welcome everyone. This is MrSovr with a new series that I'm starting. It's all going to be about indie game developers and general game developers out there. Now, just to say a little bit of a reference of what I've been doing with video game development and overall programming and stuff, is that I've been doing programming for stuff like C++, Java, Dark Basic, AGK, even Visual Basic and other little scripting languages here and there like Lua and Ruby for various functions like game development or just usual utilities for, I would say, ever since I was 13 or 12, and I'm just around 20, so I'm almost 20. So it's just roughly around 8 years I've been doing game development, both 3D modeling, gameplay editing, and programming itself. I've also been accustomed to different platforms and how they all work, and the certain specifications for publishing certain games or apps here and there. So hopefully this is a series that many people can relate to or frustrated in trying to figure out, and hopefully I can help you in any way possible on how to do this and even how to start up an ideal business. Even though I don't really have a business, I develop with Apple, but that's basically it. So what we have here is this. Well, first of all, before you start a game, you need to know if you're dedicated or not. I'm sorry, for working really, really hard on a game. Now, you may say, oh, I got a job in school. Well, you'll just have to sacrifice the majority of your free time, which a lot of people may not want to do, to actually make a game. So, making a game is a lot harder than you think. You might want to start out something small and then go to something bigger. I'm apparently in the stage of going to bigger stuff, even though it's still really, really hard just by myself. I have bought different assets and models and stuff like that to help me out, and different softwares that create terrain and excuse me, different sounds, stuff like that. But right now, um, I'm just kind of doing a little bit of PC and iPhone stuff at the moment. I don't really go into game engines, but if you're that type of guy or girl, and be my guest. It's a really great tool, actually. It's just that it's not just my type of style of doing stuff. But so if you're dedicated and wanting to learn this stuff and it's your dream to do this stuff, then I would say these tutorials are they're not so much as tutorials, more like videos of showing stuff and a little bit of tutorials. Well, it would all seem very interesting, let's just say, and all that, and hopefully this will help you out. But what we have here is a bunch of selection stuff. Of course, I kind of cut out the top part, but right here is a game engine that I really don't know anything about other than I've heard that it's a really, really good engine. Um, the number one thing that stands out from the Cry engine is its graphics. Its graphics are, to what I've heard, are the best that you like. Just look at that; it's just really, really good quality and everything. Like the water, the sky, everything's really well done. The AI systems and all sorts of that stuff, like realistic characters, like just look at that. It's just absolutely amazing on how good the quality are and everything. Now, me as an individual could never do something like this. So maybe if you're like, okay, I don't know how to program too much. I know how to do 3D modeling and I know how to set options and stuff like that and have a basic idea on how AI, terrain, performance, and all that works. And this is probably your type of thing. And we got a little thing down here I don't feel like clicking on, but it's a really great tool. It's great if you have a group of people and they all know what they're doing artwork wise and gameplay and graphics and how the flow of the game works. It's really great. But as an individual, this might seem a little overwhelming in a way because there are a lot of tools and each tool communicates to each other, and there's probably over tens of thousands of options and all sorts of stuff, so it could get a little overwhelming at times when it comes to game engines. That's why I kind of stay away from them, but it's a great tool if you really know what you're doing. So I'm gonna go over the game engines first, and I'm gonna go over the programming languages by themselves. So the next one I would say is probably either as good or second place good graphics. It's called the Unreal Engine. Don't have too much to show here. I know the Unreal Engine 4, which I just figured out right before I got this video started. I just realized that the fourth one's out. I don't know if you can download it or not, but I know for sure the third one is available, which is great. Let me see here. I haven't really been here in a long time. I actually tried out Unreal Engine before. I got pretty far in it actually. Like I learned how to position the objects and how sounds work and different physics and collisions worked. But I kind of really lost it when I got into AI and all the different, they call it kinematics or something like that. I don't know, I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's just that there's really no coding unless you want to get really deep into it. But other than that, you just basically have different blocks and you connect them together and it does different stuff. It's really hard to explain. In a different video, I'll get into the stuff. Like, I'll show a little bits of this and that, but the stuff I really know how to do, that's mainly what I'm going to concentrate, because I'm not a professional when it comes to game engines. I just know little bits here and there. But I would say the Unreal Engine is the #1 engine that I know the most of and I know how to do. So I'll definitely go over this a lot. But let's go into showcases just to kind of show the stuff. Like, this is apparently very popular engine because it did Dishonored, and also done a couple other games. I'm not really for sure. Of course, my computer has to be so dang slow. I don't know. The internet's kind of not so great, so I'm gonna let that load, and let's. Oh, wait. It's finally starting to load. But as you can see, there's Dishonored and Fable and stuff like that. It's just a really good, top-notch game engine. The graphics are still freaking amazing, but CryEngine I think is a little bit better with the graphics. I have no idea what CryEngine really is when it comes to like how it all works. So yeah, I wouldn't know too much about that. But our next game engine is Unity. Now, Unity is very different, let's just say, mainly because it's, in my opinion, is not as good of a game engine compared to Unreal and Far Cry. The graphics are definitely lower, but overall, it's just like it's really good. Still, it's really, really good. Um, it's just that I don't know. It's good enough. Let's just put it that way. Like, it's not top notch, but it's definitely good. Unity, I did work with a little bit of Unity, and it turns out that it tends to be a little difficult, I would say. I never really learned too much about it because it's just harder and stuff to me. And you have to learn scripting language like JavaScript, BooScript, which I have no idea what that is, C Sharp. And that's really all I know too much, or that much, or whatever. I don't know. Unity is just something I wouldn't really get into too much. But I don't want to say it's horrifying. But moving on, now we're going into more of the lower level stuff, which I use a lot. It may sound a little bit more painful to create games this way, but you are in more control, and as long as you know the understanding of how games work, how certain things as wavy grass to wavy leaves to smoke to fire to skies and all that works, then majority of the time you will probably stick with programming. And with my many years of experience, I understand a lot of these concepts, so it's not too hard to just go to either Java or C++ or Dark Basic to make something interesting, basically. So we are going to go into probably my most liked programming language right now, and that is App GameKit. Apparently everyone that follows my videos, at least for the past 5 or 6 months, know about App Game Kit. And App Game Kit is um, basically a programming language that you can do natively or by tier 1, which is, well, tier 2 is native, tier 1 is by their own basic language. Their basic language outputs a bytecode, which you can implement to multiple platforms, whether if it's iPhone, Android, BlackBerry, PC, Mac. The other ones would probably be like Beta or Migo, but I don't know if Beta still is in business or something. I don't know, I think Migo isn't, but it's also converting to HTML5, maybe Java, and also Windows phones. But it's still in the beta stage for its current update, so it doesn't have all its features yet. Sort of bit of the stuff I've said before, sell to multiple stores, go native. Native's basically like the core native programming language of that platform. For like PC, it would be C++. Uh, Mac and iPhone would be Cocoa Touch slash C++, but Cocoa Touch you don't need to really use. You just need to know C++. And if it's like Android or something like that, it would be Java, basically. So as you can see, like the IDEs would be Visual Studio, Xcode, and Qt, basically. It's a really good tool overall. It's just really, really nice, in my opinion. Let's look at the different platforms. Okay, so currently we have, like, I know, like, wait a second, I could have sworn we had BlackBerry on here. Like, I know that you could do the playbook, which I believe is BlackBerry. But anyways, there is the Android, iOS, macOS, and Windows. Additional platforms are coming: Java plus OpenGL, HTML5, and Windows Phone 7. Some of the features are write once deploy technology, basically meaning that you don't need to know individual programming languages for Android, iOS, macOS, or Windows. You just need to know one programming language, which is a basic form of programming language, basic as in the actual programming language basic. And of course, if you haven't seen this, you can look at my previous AGK videos, which I guess I should have waited till I did this type of series. But you can always look back and it'll show you how easy it is. It's like load image, ID number, and then the actual image file, and that loads an image into the program for you. It's really nice, really simple. But another thing you might want to look at is definitely the basic compiler broadcast directly to devices. Now for Android this is good. iOS and macOS it's a little bit different. And for Windows, well, you usually don't need to do that for Windows because you do all of it on Windows or Mac, but most of the time it's on Windows. The Android downloads the app onto Android wirelessly through your Wi-Fi, whether if it's at school, library, or home, to test out your app. And iOS does the same thing, but it just broadcasts a video stream and simple inputs, basically. It's a really nice tool. I personally prefer it. It comes with the compiler or the product, and you can download the app on the App Store or Android Store for communications, basically. Now, of course, it is OpenGL based, so it's across platforms. It's 2D game engine, also a 3D game engine, which is down here in the latest update in 1.08, which is in beta 5 at the moment. There's sprites, box 2D physics, particles, device independent, file I/O, all sorts of this stuff. There's a lot more to it, also like advertisements, and also down here HTTP, edit boxes, advertisements, zip file control, time and date, enhance image control. Like you can choose, print, customize. Even though I just kind of spelled that wrong. There's also interaction with Facebook, Twitter, video playback, sensors like geolocation. I don't even know what that is. Light sensor, NFC, which I don't know what that is either. Like I haven't really looked into sensors too much, but you also have in-app purchasing For 3D, you got primitives, positions, rotations, shaders, collisions, cameras, lights, so on and so forth. You got your music, network, extensive help and tutorials, text support, direct input control, touch keyboard and mouse, accelerator, joystick, all those really cool things. And let's just look a little bit at the native and the basic, and then we'll move on. I kind of have to explain a lot on how the programming languages work compared to the actual game engines, because the programming languages I know a lot more of. So just to give you a little idea, this is C++, and you include the agk.h header. There's a begin, a loop, and a there's also an end part, but they don't have it in this one. This must be outdated or something. But you can like load images, load sound, have pointer press, which is like pushing your finger on the screen or something, or the mouse on the screen. You can play the sound, you can load the sprite. You can do all sorts of crazy stuff, basically. You can do variables, and like I'm personally making a three-dimensional RPG game in the futuristic space, basically, with this stuff, and I'll be able to do Windows, iPhone, Mac, and Android, soon to be Windows and all that stuff. Well, Windows Phone. Just a little look at the difference between basic and native. And of course, the other programming languages we'll also go over with a few of them. They're actually from the same company. But as you can see, the programming language is a little bit different. It's in BASIC instead of object-oriented programming, and it's really great. This is where you can actually broadcast the app, and you can test out the app before you publish it also, which is also a great tool. So, the next best and great thing compared to App Game Kit is Dark Basic Professional. Dark Basic Professional is a older game engine. Oh, the reason why I call it game engine though is because it's sort of a bit like it, but it's programming based. It supports various things like, for example, pixel and vertex shader support for DirectX 9. It does anything from metallic to cartoon, bump, water effects, all sorts of this cool stuff. It exports exe files, brand new 3D engine, third-party DLL support, so you can create your own commands into Dark Basic. BSP support, multiplayer support, DirectX 9 support, bone-based models, stuff like that. Here's a lot of the features. This programming language has been out for a very long time, and so it has full support. Even the community has made various plugins for the programming language, and it has also been used for all sorts of crazy stuff. And there's even a couple games out there that's been very successful from the Dark Basic, basically. But we have binary space partitioning, potential visibility set, real-time shadows, true reflections, light, matrices, advanced terrain, multiple camera views, particle system, lighting, fast 2D sprites, polygon collision detection, all sorts of this cool stuff. And you can read the rest of it if you just pause the video. It's a great tool. I'm going to look very briefly at the expansion packs, or enhancement packs I would say, because there's quite a bit of it, and I still have to go over quite a bit too, if it loads. My number one preferred thing, if you are not a game engine person, is the AGK though, because it's the most newest thing that this company has out. But we also have these expansions like Dark Resource, Dark Dynamic, Dark Collision, Dark Imposters, Blitzworks Terrain, Dark Physics, Dark AI, Box 2D, Dark Clouds, Dark Shaders, Dark Lights, Tree Party, Enhanced Animations, 2D Plugin Kit, Texture Max, Dark Net, Dark Video, Dark Data, Dark Source, Pure GDK, Dark Ink, Stinks, I can't even say that, STYX, which is probably one of my favorites, Unity, which uses Lua basically. Extends, which extends everything. Enhancement Pack, which is more of like a core, simple stuff you could do like voice and stuff like that. Nuclear Glory, which is collisions. Pure Plugin, which I'm not really for sure that one is. So, moving on, I'm not going to talk too much about this one, but GDK is the Tier 2 version of Dark Basic. You use the Visual C++ 2008 version. You can download the Dark GDK and the Dark Basic for free, you just can't publish anything. It's a very basic code and it's all in C++, so it's fairly easy to use. So it's the exact same thing as Dark Basic, but in C++. So also moving on, we have Java, which is probably my last programming language I really know about. For Java, I would personally use various libraries because Java by itself is a pain to program. Unless you want to go into stuff like how to initialize your video card into figuring out where to put certain things on the screen pixel based and initializing all the hardware and everything, which you can do that if you want, but I'm not going to go over that. Instead, why not just use a library that barely uses up that much performance and does everything for you? So that's what I'm going to be doing because it's easier and more practical. But before we go on, there's a thing between C++ and Java that especially gamers should know about. Java takes up more processing power. I don't know if it's processing power or RAM, but I think it's both maybe. That it makes your computer more used up, and most likely the games that you build in Java will become more laggy than C++ based programming or program games. Because C++ does not have a garbage collector, and Java does. A garbage collector basically collects the objects that you have created in your object-oriented programming and destroys it for you. C++, they do not have that. That's why they have decompilers, which destroys the objects, but you have to do it yourself. For Java, you don't. That's why if Minecraft was done in C++, it would run at least 2 times faster, and you could do so much more with less of the lag. So that's what I kind of want to get out first. LWJGL, which is Lightweight Java Game Library, is a really great resource. It was also used by Notch by making Minecraft, which also says something that it's a really good tool to use. It uses OpenGL, OpenAL, and OpenCL to actually use basic vertex and positioning stuff and use FBX objects and shaders, GLSL shaders, which also AGK uses. So if you know how to make GLSL shaders, then you're great for AGK or Java programming or even C++, but you know, it's a little different unless you're strictly OpenGL instead of DirectX. But Java with the LWJGL, you get to position vertexes, texture the vertex, position lights and stuff, and basic mouse and keyboard controls. But other than that, you kind of have to do everything yourself. So it's still very hard to do, especially when you're importing objects and stuff like that from files. That's really hard also. So if you're a beginner programmer, I would definitely not prefer this at all. I would prefer the AGK or the Dark Basic, especially the Dark Basic, which to me is a good starter programming language. If not, try to learn stuff through Visual Basic, and if you want to strictly start in OpenGL or object-oriented programming, then I would prefer basic stuff in Java, not C++, because C++ is a little harder to use. But anyways, there's also another tool that works well with LWJGL, which Minecraft did not use, but it's an add-on basically. It is Slick 2D New Dawn or whatever it's called. Slick 2D. I don't know if this is in this actual website. I think it's brand new actually, or updated at least. But this library uses LWJGL and also I think another one, this one, to enhance the simplicity of loading images and loading sounds and fonts and creating new interesting things. It's just easier to use, so I prefer this also with LWJGL. So yeah, that's basically all the tools that at least I know good enough that are good for people to use. I know there's a boatload more tools out there that I haven't gone over. Other game engines, other programming languages, other libraries for those programming languages. But I've kind of showed you a little bit of all the stuff I've kind of seen as useful. Of course, the two most useful ones are AGK, Dark Basic, and I would say the other one would be Unreal Engine, but I don't really use Unreal Engine. If I get popular in my apps, I'll probably use it to make Xbox games, but other than that, that's basically all I really know and what I can really show you that are good tools and all that. But I'm going to be continuing on with these videos. School started in a couple days, literally. I think just tomorrow I have off and then school starts, so I probably won't be making more videos so much at all, probably, for at least a long time. So I'm going to try my best to do these videos whenever I have any form of free time. I have an easier semester a little bit, so I should probably be able to maybe here or there on the weekend. But make sure to like the video so other people can know about these series, and also subscribe to help me out with my channel and everything, which I always appreciate my subscribers. And also, my next video is going to be on the introduction to the idea of how to form a video game and how to start off with an idea and to make it into a video game. So I hope you've liked this video, and also, again, as I said before, subscribe, and thank you for watching.